In the world of video games, no company's zeal is as strong and evident as a mega force in their Dynasty Warriors franchise. The series has spawned 7 major installments in its home country of Japan and 8 in North America and Europe. The series has become a notoriety for both being praised for its lots of playable characters, massive battlefields and tons of enemies to kill, and criticized for its repetitive and monotonous nature, often with the claim that the game fails to improve upon the shallow gameplay sequel after sequel. Whether you're a fan or critic, you can't help but compliment the game's exceptionally unique genre that happens to be one of the first of its kind back in its day. Tagging along every new numerical digit comes 2 compulsory additional games, Extreme Legends and Empires. The Empires games are standalone spin-offs of Dynasty Warriors that attempts to mesh together 2 very different game genres, the turn-based tactical strategic gameplay of Koei's own Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and the fast-paced hack-and-slash action gameplay of Dynasty Warriors. I haven't ever played a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game before, but plenty of Dynasty Warriors games. As a matter of fact, the strategy portion of Empires reminds me a lot more of an old game on the Super Nintendo I used to really love called Gemfire, which was also made by Koei. Clearly, the game wasn't based upon Chinese history, but the resemblances between the gameplay and Empires is strong, especially given Gemfire's more simplistic nature. Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires doesn't stray from its tried formula. The game offers an Empire mode, which encompasses many historical and fictional scenarios to choose from, with various forces divided all over the map of China. You also have the choice now to make your very own scenario using the game's very adequate scenario editor. This may not be the scenario editor that you may have been dreaming of, but it gets the job done by allowing you to plant officers anywhere on the map without restriction, and separate kingdoms. You can also choose to have a few additional custom settings for your scenarios, such as restricting playable characters from the main cast from appearing. Lastly, you can give your scenario a name, description, and share with millions of other people on the network. In Empire mode, your goal is to conquer and unite all of China under your ruling, or under your ruler's ruling. Tackling such a titanic task requires you to invade other territories, defeat them in battle, and ultimately claim their territory. Outside of battle, your tasks are to execute various strategy actions that helps maintain and build your character and kingdom. Such actions can include ensuring imperative facilities are built, recruiting officers and troops, training and obtaining goods and gold. The virtue system also allows you to be an angel to your people to keep them happy, or be a devil to make them despise your existence. Various positions are given to each and every character, and these positions can be exchanged for another during gameplay, dependent on your choices and status. A ruler has the highest authority of any person and carries all duties of the kingdom, having enough power to demand an opposing kingdom to outright surrender. A strategist is allowed to invoke most strategy actions, such as recommending officers to the force, carry out invasion and defense battles, and building of facilities. A common officer can only partially assist their kingdom, such as aiding them in battles, partaking in raids, and tackling requests. A vagrant wanders China in search for a specific goal, perhaps to build their own kingdom or join another. Vagrants are not held in any kind of peril, as they are safe from enemy attacks. However, that doesn't mean you should forever be a vagrant. The game doesn't make it appear that you and everyone around you are robots with apathy. Romance and friendship plays a very important role in Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. Friendship rank determines how well you get along with other officers, and if an officer in your own forces feels lowly enough, they can hastily and forcefully revolt against you, taking your own officers against you. You can build friendship levels high enough to have sworn siblings, and marry a character of the opposite gender, both of which will grant you with gifts from time to time. When you propose to your loved one, you and your spouse can now have their own children after a few years has passed. Shamefully, the game only allows the birth of 1 child per game, And furthermore, the game generates the child randomly through its character creator, and most likely won't give your poor child any kind of justice. Yes, my friends, we're looking at very fugly children being unleashed from the womb to the world. Having the game taking genetics so damn seriously, this wouldn't be too big of an issue. If you or your spouse has even one facial trade-off, you might as well forget unprotected sex so you won't shame the world with a newborn monster. The famed system from Dynasty Warriors Empires is abolished and replaced with a more typical leveling system that allows your characters to level up to 99 and most importantly maintain that level in its granted stats. This is absolutely wonderful, as I don't think I know anybody who honestly likes the fluctuating fame system from the previous game. Something new to Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires is Way of Life. What is Way of Life? Way of Life is an appellation given to every character that determines their learning stratagem, employment cost, virtue level, and starting level. Characters you control start out as ordinary men and women, but can escalate themselves to have different way of lives, achievable by obtaining certain so-called titles during playthrough. One of the most important things you can do with your kingdom is to invade other territories, or take over their territory. During invasions, capturing enemy bases by defeating enemies around them are the usual basics of the battle. In general, your objective is to generate a chain of allied bases between your main base and that of the enemies, allowing you to take down the main base and leading officer in the end. When defending attacked territory, the basics remain the same. However, defense battles differentiates because you can simply allow the timer to run out while keeping your bases in check and still be victorious. It's good to note that the time limit for defense battles has been lowered to a mere 5 minutes instead of 15, so they are not nearly as annoying as they were before, especially when the enemy decides to bombard you with invasions. You can avoid having to participate in defense battles altogether by repairing damaged territories with resources. Territories are allowed up to a few disregarded enemy invasions without repair before they ultimately crumble and are claimed. Your character can also participate in raid and request battles. Raids allow you to launch an assault on a nearby enemy territory. Requests are given by other officers within the vicinity of your area, and if you complete these, you will be rewarded new weapons and items. Requests can also help raise friendship levels with the giver. These are small, short battles that has various objectives such as protecting an ally or defeating a number of enemy officers. Stratagems, or tactics you can execute during battle, has a new category of grand-scale stratagems. These stratagems consumes time to execute, but emphatically affects the entire battlefield, ranging from engulfing the enemies in raining arrows, to lightning strikes to hail particles. Catapults and attack defense towers can also be strategically placed nearly anywhere on the map, giving you a much more finer control of their usage. There's also the Kongming of stratagems, that allows one to instantly alter the weather, coming intact with Mother Nature herself.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Weather can increase or decrease effectiveness of certain stratagems, like summoning lightning is better off during a storm than in sunshine. Who is that badass strategist, you say? Well, that's Shen Yu, a new character sporting a classic strategist uniform and wielding a scepter that really reminds me of Taigong Wang's fishing rod, with its detonatable charges. About a handful of existing characters are also given new weapons and movesets, although these weapons aren't entirely new, as they are derived from past paid DLC weapons. The weapon changes are quite an oddball to me, as up to Dynasty Warriors 8, every character are decloned already and have unique weapons. The changes are going to be a hate it or love it relationship with most players, but I personally find a lot of changes are for the better. Lin Shi isn't stuck torturing players anymore with her stay in one spot and shoot crossbow. Instead, she's been given a pretty much all-around excellent replacement weapon with the Mandarin duck hooks. If there's one thing that's always nice about Empires, it's the available character creator which allows you to craft up your own kick-ass officer. There's plenty of things to play around with here, but one thing strikes anyone who has played the previous Dynasty and Samurai Warriors. The editor hasn't changed much, at all. It doesn't even carry over the vastly cool photo uploader introduced in Samurai Warriors 4 for characters, which means you aren't going to be able to draw a pretty face on your PC and slap it on your character as his or her portrait. Aside from characters, you can now create your very own banner, horses, and even troops. And the photo uploader is available to some of these items. You can also create a kingdom of custom characters and easily use it to set up new games in Empire mode. The Empire's games may not be suitable for everybody. For those who prefer to just carelessly lay back on the couch, shut up pounds of stress and slay thousands of enemy fodder continuously, the original Dynasty Warriors flavor may be better for them. For those who desire a little more thought and personalization in Dynasty Warriors, there's absolutely nothing better than Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. Even if one so wishes to just play Dynasty Warriors for what it really is, you can't go wrong with the game's non-strategic free mode or downloading the equivalent free-to-play version.